Before I go to sleep, I figured, well, rather than watching other people's videos, before I go to sleep, okay. Sorry, I had to mute myself on YouTube. I figured that hey, Deaf Bread, how are you? So I'm going to read to you guys, rather than giving my testimony and doing panels, because sometimes all that stuff can be very overwhelming. I thought that maybe I could read you something. And in my autobiography that I write about my own personal testimony and experiences, I too write about Enoch. And he was one of my favorite characters, so to speak. One of my favorite people that were mentioned in the Holy Bible. That was mentioned in the Holy Bible. And I think some of the reason for that is because of his spiritual gifts and the calling that Heavenly Abba put upon his life. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to read to you guys. Now, I'm not quite sure that I can do a full 3.5 hours reading, but I'll get as far as I possibly can, and then I will pick this up again on my next broadcast, if y'all don't mind. Shalom, Shawana. Paul, how are you? Thank you so much. So welcome, everyone. So tonight, I'm going to stay awake late, but it's for good reason. It's because I want to read to you the book of Enoch. Heavenly Abba, Yud He Vav He, behold the hand, behold the nail. I lift up this video and everyone in my chat room and everyone who might or may not listen to this video in the archives. And I ask that you give them blessings. I ask that you send down your good warring angels to stand guard and protect them and their loved ones. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, I praise you, I worship you, I glorify you, I thank you, I love you. And that's just the beginning of how I feel about you, Heavenly Abba. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Selah. So, without further ado, the blessing of Enoch. These are the words of the blessing of Enoch, according to which he blessed the chosen and righteous, who must be present on the day of distress, which is appointed for the removal of all the wicked and impious. Oh boy, here we go. Forgive me if I do not pronounce words correctly. Hey, seller. So that's the word I'm trying to pronounce right now. I put it in my chat room. Impios. And Enoch began his story and said, there was a righteous man whose eyes were opened by the Lord, and he saw a holy vision in the heavens, which the angels showed to me. And I heard everything from them, and I understood what I saw, but not for this generation, but for a distant generation that will come. Excuse me, guys, for one moment. Thank you. My cat is tearing up a cardboard box, so that's the background noise. Forgive me. Concerning the chosen, I spoke, and I uttered a parable concerning them. The Holy and Great One will come out of his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread from there upon Mount Sinai, and he will appear with his host, and will appear in the strength of his power from heaven. And all will be afraid, and the watchers will shake, and fear and great trembling will seize them up to the ends of the earth. And the high mountains will be shaken, and the high hills will be laid low, and will melt like wax in a flame. And the earth will sink, and everything that is on the earth will be destroyed. And there will be judgment upon all, and upon all the righteous. But for the righteous, he will make peace, and he will keep safe the chosen, and mercy will be upon them. They will all belong to God, and will prosper and be blessed, and the light of God will shine upon them. Excuse me for one moment. I turned off my cell phone, excuse me. And the earth will sink, and everything that is on the earth will be destroyed, and there will be judgment upon all, and upon all the righteous. But for the righteous, he will make peace, and he will keep safe the chosen, and mercy will be upon them. They will all belong to God, and will prosper and be blessed, and the light of God will shine on them. And behold, he comes with 10,000 holy ones to execute judgment upon them and to destroy the impious, and to contend with all flesh concerning everything that the sinners and impious have done and wrought against him. Contemplate all the events in the sky, how the lights in the sky do not change their course, how each rises and sets in order, each at its proper time, and they do not transgress their law. Consider the earth, and understand from the work that is done upon it, from the beginning to the end, that no work of God changes as it becomes manifest. Consider the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is full of water, and the clouds and dew and rain rest upon it. Contemplate and see how all the trees appear withered, and all their leaves are stripped, with the exception of the 14 trees, which are not stripped, which remain with the old leaves until the new come after 2 or 3 years. And again, contemplate the days of summer, how at its beginning the sun is above it. You seek shelter and shade because of the heat of the sun, and the earth burns with scorching heat, and you cannot tread upon the earth or upon a rock because of its heat. I contemplate how the trees are covered with green leaves and bear fruit, and understand in respect of everything, and perceive how he who lives forever made all these things for you, and how his works are before him in each succeeding year, and all his works serve him and do not change. But as God has decreed, so everything is done. And consider how the seas and rivers together complete their tasks. But you have not persevered in, nor observed the law of the Lord, but you have transgressed and have spoken proud and hard words with your unclean mouth against his majesty. You hard of heart, you will not have peace, and because of this you will curse your days, and the years of your life will destroy you, and the eternal curse will increase, and you will not receive mercy. In those days you will transform your name into an eternal curse to all the righteous, and they will curse you, sinners, forever. For the chosen, there will be light, joy, and peace, and they will inherit the earth. But for you, the impious, there will be a curse. When wisdom is given to the chosen, they will all live and will not again do wrong, either through forgetfulness or through pride. But those who possess wisdom will be humble. They will not again do wrong, and they will not be judged in all the days of their life. And they will not die of wrath or anger, but they will complete the number of the days of their life. And their life will grow in peace, and the years of their joy will increase in gladness and eternal peace, all of the days of their life. And it came to pass when the sons of man had increased, in those days there were born to them fair and beautiful daughters, and the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the children of men, and let us beget ourselves children. And Simyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear that you may not wish this deed to be done, and that I alone will pay for this great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and bind one another with curses, so not to alter this plan, but to carry out this plan effectively. They all swore together and all bound one another with curses to it. And they were in all 200. And they all came down to Ardis, which is the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called the mountain Hermon because on it they swore and bound one another with curses. And these are the names of their leaders. Excuse me to the people that are listening to me trying to pronounce these names. And these are the names of their leaders. Simyaza, who was their leader. Yerakabah, Ramael, Kokabael, Tamael, Ramael, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asael, Armoros, Ananel, Zekiel, Simsaziel, Satael, Turiel, Yamael, Arizael. These are the leaders of the 200 angels and of all the others with them. And they took wives for themselves, and everyone chose for himself one each. And they began to go into them, and they were promiscuous with them. And they taught them charms and spells, and they showed them the cutting of roots and trees. And they became pregnant and bore large giants, and their height was 300 cubits. These devoured all the toil of men until men were unable to sustain them. And the giants turned against them in order to devour men. And they began to sin against birds and against animals and against reptiles and against fish. And they devoured one another's flesh and drank the blood from it. Then the earth complained about the lawless ones. And Azazel taught men to make swords and daggers and shields and breastplates. And he showed them the things after these, and the arts of making them, bracelets and ornaments, and the art of making up the eyes, and of beautifying the eyelids, and the most precious stones, and of all kinds of colored dyes. And the world was changed. And there was great impity and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt. Sirach taught all those who cast spells and cut roots. Amaros, the release of spells. Excuse me. Barikail, astrologers. Kokabayal, portents. And Azrael taught the path of the moon. And at the destruction of men they cried out, and their voices reached heaven. And then Michael, Gabriel, Suriel, and Uriel looked down from heaven. Looked down from heaven and saw the mass of blood that was being shed on the earth, and all the iniquity that was being done on the earth. And they said to one another, "Let the devastated earth cry out with the sound of their cries, up to the gate of heaven. And now to you, O holy ones of heaven, the souls of men complain, saying, bring our complaint before the Most High." And they said to their Lord the King, Lord of Lords, God of gods, King of kings, your glorious throne endures for all the generations of the world, and blessed and praised. You have made everything, and power over everything is yours, and everything is uncovered and open in front of you, and you see everything, and there is nothing that can be hidden from you. But then, what Azazel has done. He has taught all iniquity on the earth and revealed the eternal secrets that were made in heaven. And Samiaz, has made known spells. He to whom you gave authority to rule over those who are with him. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women, became unclean, and revealed to them these sins. And the women bore giants, and thereby the whole earth has been filled with blood and iniquity. And now behold, the souls which have died, and the women who bore giants, and thereby, let me go back, I'm sorry. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women, became unclean, and revealed to them these sins. And the women bore giants, and thereby the whole earth has been filled with blood and iniquity. And now behold, the souls which have died cry out and complain unto the gate of heaven, and their lament has ascended, and they cannot go out in the face of the iniquity which is being committed on the earth. And you know everything before it happens, and you know this, and what concerns each of them. But you say nothing to us. What ought we to do with them about this? And then the Most High, the Great and Holy One, spoke and sent oh boy, I don't even know how to say that. And then the Most High, the Great and Holy One, spoke and sent Arsaelo to the son of Lamech, and said to him, say to him in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end which is coming, because the whole earth will be destroyed. A deluge is about to come on all the earth, and all that is in it will be destroyed. And now teach him so that he may escape and his offspring may survive for the whole earth. And further, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel by his hands and his feet and throw him into the darkness, and split open the desert, which is in Dudael, and throw him there. And throw him on jagged and sharp stones, and cover him with darkness, and let him stay there forever, and cover his face so that he may not see the light. And so that on the great day of judgment, he may be hurled into the fire. And restore the earth, and and restore the earth with the angels, which the angels have ruined, and announce the restoration of the earth. For I shall restore the earth, so that not all the sons of men shall be destroyed because of the knowledge which the watchers made known and taught to their sons. And the whole earth has been ruined by the teaching of the works of Azazel, and against him write all sin. And the Lord said to Gabriel, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the sons of the fornicators, and destroy the sons of the fornicators and the sons of the watchers from amongst men, and send them out and send them against one another, and let them destroy themselves in battle, for they will not have length of days. And they will petition you, but the petitioners will gain nothing in respect of them, for they hope for eternal life, and that each of them will live life for 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, go inform Simyaza and the others with him, who have associated with the women to corrupt themselves with them in all their uncleanness. With all their sons kill each other, and when they see the destruction of their loved ones, bind them for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of their judgment and of their consumption, until the judgment, which is for all eternity, is accomplished. And in those days they will lead them to the abyss of fire, in torment and in prison. They will be shut up for all eternity. And then Simyaza will be burned, and from then on destroyed with them. Together they will be bound until the end of all generations, and destroy all of the souls of lusts and the sons of the watchers, for they have wronged men. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and every evil work will cease. And now all the righteous will be humble and will live until they beget thousands. And all the days of their youth and their Sabbaths they will fulfill in peace. And in those days the whole earth will be tilled in righteousness, and all of it will be planted with trees, and it will be filled with blessing. And all the pleasant trees they will plant on it, and they will plant on it vines. And the vine that is planted on it will produce fruit in abundance, and every seed that is sown on it, each measure will produce 1,000, and each measure of olives will produce 10 baths of oil. And you cleanse the earth from all wrong, and from all iniquity, and from all sin, and from all piety, and from all the uncleanness which is brought about on the earth. And all the sons of men will be righteous, and all the nations shall serve and bless me, and all shall worship me. And the earth will be cleansed from all corruption, and from all sin, and from all wrath, and from all torment. And I will not again send a flood upon it for all generations forever. And in those days I will open the storehouses of blessing, which are in heaven, so that I may send them down upon the earth, upon the work, and upon the toil, and the sons of men. Peace and truth will be united for all the days of eternity, and for all the generations of eternity. Excuse me, I got a cough. Excuse me. I will say hello to all my loved ones in the chat room when I'm finished. Please excuse me. I'm trying to read you guys something, so I beg your pardon. Enoch meets the holy watchers. And then Enoch disappeared, and none of the sons of men knew where he was hidden, where he was, or what had happened. And all his doings were with the holy ones and with the watchers in his days. And I, Enoch, was blessing the great Lord with the King of eternity. And behold, the watchers called to me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go and inform the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heaven and the holy eternal place, and have corrupted themselves with women, and have done as the sons of men do, and have taken wives for themselves, and have become completely corrupt on the earth. They will have on earth neither peace nor forgiveness of sin, for they will not rejoice in their sons. The slaughter of their beloved ones they will see, and over the destruction of their sons they will lament and petition forever, but they will have neither mercy nor peace. And Enoch went and said to Azazel, you will not have peace. A severe sentence has come out against you that you should not be bound, that you should be bound. And you will have neither rest nor mercy nor the granting of any petitions because of the wrong which you have taught, and because of all the works of blasphemy and wrong and sin you have shown to the sons of men. And then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid. Fear and trembling seized them. and they asked me to write out for them the record of a petition so that they might receive forgiveness and to take a record of their petition up to the Lord of heaven. Give me 1 second, everyone. I'm sorry. I had to make sure that virtual shield is on. I got a notification. That's why I stopped. I apologize. For they were not able from then on to speak, and they did not raise their eyes to heaven out of shame for the sins for which they had been condemned. And then I wrote out the record of their petition and their supplication in regard to their spirits and the deeds of each one of them, and in regard to what they asked. They should obtain absolution and forbearance. And I went and sat down by the waters of Dan in Dan, which is southwest of Hermon, and I read out the record of their petition until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell upon me, and I saw a vision of wrath, that I should speak to the sons of heaven and reprove them. And I woke up and went to them, and they were all sitting gathered together as they mourned in And I went up and went to them, and they were all sitting gathered together as they mourned in Ube Sael. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong, which is between Lebanon and Sinai, Sennar, with their faces covered. And I spoke in front of them all the visions that I had seen in my sleep, and I began to speak these words to reprove the watchers of heaven. This book is the word of righteousness and of reproof for the watchers who are from eternity, as the Holy and Great One commanded in that vision. I saw in my sleep that I will now tell with the tongue of flesh and with my breath, which the Great One has given men in the mouth, so that they might speak with it and understand with the heart, as he has created and appointed men to understand the word of knowledge. So he created and appointed me to reprove the watchers, the sons of heaven. And I wrote out your petition, but in my vision, thus it appeared that your petition would not be granted to you for all the days of eternity, and complete judgment has been decreed against you, and you will not have peace. And from now on, you will not ascend to heaven for all eternity. And it has been decreed that you will be bound on earth for all the days of eternity. And before this, you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will not be able to join them, but they will fall before you by the sword, and your petition will not be granted in respect of them or in respect of yourselves. And while you weep and supplicate, you do not speak a single word from the writings which I have written. And the vision appeared to me as follows. Behold, clouds called me in the vision, and mist called me, and the path of the stars and flashes of lightning hastened me and drove me. And in the vision, winds caused me to fly and hastened me and lifted me up into the sky. And I proceeded until I came near a wall, which was made of hailstones, and a tongue of fire surrounded it, and it began to make me afraid. And I went into the tongue of fire and came near to a large house, which was built of hailstones, and the wall of that house was like a mosaic of hailstones, and its floor was snow. Its roof was the path of the stars and flashes of lightning, and among them was a fiery cherubim, and their sky was like the water. And there was a fire burning around its wall, and its door was ablaze with fire. And I went into that house, and it was not hot as fire, and as cold as snow, and there was neither pleasure nor life in it. Fear covered me, and trembling took hold of me. And as I was shaking and trembling, I fell on my face, and I saw the vision, and behold, another house, which was larger than the former, and all its doors were open before me, and it was built of a tongue of fire, and in everything so excelled in glory and splendor and size, so that I am unable to describe to you its glory and its size. And its floor was fire, and above lightning, and the path of the stars, and its roof also was burning fire. And I looked, and I saw in it a high throne, and its appearance was like ice, and its surrounds like the shining sun, and the sound of a cherubim. And from underneath the high throne there flowed out rivers of fire, so that it was impossible to look at. And he who is great in glory sat upon it. And his raiment was brighter than the sun and whiter than any snow. And no angel could enter at the appearance of the face of him who is honored and praised. No creature of flesh could look. And to see a fire burnt around him, and a great fire stood in front of him, and none of those around him came near to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no holy counsel. And the holy ones who were near to him did not leave by night or day, and did not depart from him. And until then I had a covering on my face as I trembled. And the Lord called to me with his own mouth, and he said, "Come here, Enoch, to my holy word." And he lifted me up and brought me near to the door, and I looked with my face down. And he answered me and said to me with his voice, "Hear, do not be afraid. Enoch, you righteous man, and scribe of righteousness, come here and hear my voice. And go say to the watchers of heaven who sent you to petition on their behalf. You ought to petition on behalf of men, not men on behalf of you." Excuse me. Why have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and become unclean with the daughters of men, and taken wives for yourselves, and done as the sons of the earth, and begotten giant sons? And you were spiritual, holy, living an eternal life. But you became unclean upon the women, and begot children through the blood of flesh, and lusted after the blood of men, and produced flesh and blood as they do, who die and are destroyed. And for this reason I give men wives, so that they might sow seed in them, so that children might be born by them, so that deeds might be done on the earth. But you formerly were spiritual, living an eternal, immortal life for all the generations of the world. For this reason I did not arrange wives for you, because the dwelling of the spiritual ones is in heaven. And now The giants who were born from body and flesh will be called evil spirits on the earth, and on the earth will be their dwelling. And evil spirits came out from their flesh, because from above they were created. From the holy watchers was their origin and first foundation. Evil spirits they will be on earth. Evil spirits they will be on earth, and spirits of the evil ones they will be called. And the dwelling of the spirits of heaven is in heaven, but the dwelling of the spirits of the earth, who were born on the earth, is earth. And the spirits of the giants do wrong, are corrupt, attack, fight, break on the earth, and cause sorrow. And they eat no food, do not thirst, and are not observed. And these spirits will rise against the sons of men and against the women, because they come out of them during the days of slaughter and destruction. And the death of the giants, wherever the spirits have gone out from their bodies, their flesh will be destroyed before the judgment. Thus they will be destroyed until the day of the great consumption is accomplished upon the great age, upon the watchers, and the impious ones. And now the watchers who sent you to petition on their behalf were formerly in heaven. You were in heaven, but its secrets had not yet been revealed to you, and a worthless mystery you knew. This made you known to women, and the hardness of your hearts. And through this mystery, the women and the men cause evil to increase on the earth. Say to them, therefore, you will not have peace. Enoch stays for a while with the watchers. They took me to a place where they were like burning fire, and when they wished, they made themselves look like men. And they led me to a place of storm and to a mountain, the tip of whose summit reached to heaven. And I saw lighted places, and thunder in the outermost ends, and its depths a bow of fire, and arrows and their quivers, and a sword of fire, and all the flashes of lightning. And they took me to the water of life, as it is called, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. And I came to a river of fire, whose fire flows like water, and pours out into the great sea, which is towards the west. And I saw the great rivers, and I reached the great darkness, and went where all flesh walks. And I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place where the water of all deeps And I saw the mountains of the deepness of winter, and the place where the water of all the deeps pours out. And I saw the mouths of all the rivers of the earth, and the mouth of the deep. And I saw the storehouses of all the winds, and I saw how with them he has adorned all creation. And I saw the fountains of the earth, and I saw the cornerstone of the earth, and I saw the four winds which support the earth and the sky. And I saw how the winds stretch out the height of heaven, and how they position themselves between heaven and earth. They are the pillars of heaven. And I saw the winds which turn to the sky, and cause the disk of the sun and all the stars to set. And I saw the winds on the earth which support the clouds, and I saw the paths of the angels. And I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. And I went towards the south, and it was burning day and night, where there were 7 mountains of precious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And those towards the east were of colored stone, and one was of pearl, and one of healing stone, and those towards the south of red stone. And the middle one reached to heaven, like the throne of the Lord of Stybian, and the top of the throne was sapphire. And I saw a burning fire, what was in all the mountains. And I saw a place there, beyond the great earth. There the waters gathered together. And I saw a deep chasm of the earth, with pillars of heavenly fire. And I saw among them fiery pillars of heaven, which were falling, and as regards both height and depth, they were immeasurable. And beyond this chasm, I saw a place, and it had neither the sun above it, nor the foundation of earth below it. There was no water on it, and no birds, and it was like a desert place. And I saw a terrible thing I saw there, 7 stars like great burning mountains, and like a spirit questioning me, the angel said, "This is the place of the end of heaven and earth. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the hosts of heaven." And the stars which roll over the fire, these are the ones which transgressed the command of the Lord from the beginning of their rising, because they did not come out of their proper times. And he was angry with them and bound with them until the time of the consumption of their sin in the year of mystery. And Uriel said to me, "The spirits of the angels who were promiscuous with women will stand here, and they, assuming many forms, made men unclean, and will lead men astray, so that they sacrifice to demons as gods. And they will not stand there until a great judgment day, on which they will be judged, so that an end will be made of them. And their wives, having led astray the angels of heaven, will become peaceful. And I, Enoch, alone saw the sight, the ends of everything, and no man has seen what I have seen." The angels who keep watch. Excuse me, guys. Give me like 1 second. Forgive me. Excuse me. I'm right here. Just, I need a moment. And these are the names of the holy angels who keep watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, namely the holy angel of the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world and on the lights. Michael, one of the holy angels, namely the one put in charge of the best part of humankind, in charge of the nation. Sarachael, one of the holy angels who is in charge of the spirits of men who cause the spirits to sin. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is in charge of the serpents and the garden and the cherubim. And I went round to a place where nothing was made, and I saw a terrible thing, neither the high heaven nor the firm ground, but a desert place prepared, and terrible. And there I saw 7 stars of heaven bound on it together, like great mountains, and burning like fire. Then I said, what sin have they? For what sin have they been bound, and why have they been thrown here? And Uriel, one of the holy angels, who was with me and led me, spoke to me and said, Enoch, about whom do you ask? About whom do you inquire? Ask and care. These are some of the stars which transgress the command of the Lord Most High, and they have been bound here until 10,000 ages are completed, the number of days of their sin. And from there I went to another place, more terrible than this, and I saw a terrible thing. This was a great fire there. There was a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place had a cleft reaching into the abyss, full of great pillars of fire, which were made to fall. Neither its extent nor its size could I see, nor could I see its source. Then I said, how terrible this place is, how painful to look at. Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me. He answered me and said to me, Enoch, why do you have such fear and terror because of this terrible place and before this pain? And he said to me, this place is the prison of the angels, and there they will be held forever. And from there I went to another place, and he showed me in the west a large and high mountain and a hard rock and 4 beautiful places. And inside it was deep, wide, and very smooth. How smooth is that which rolls, and deep and dark to look at. Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, these beautiful places are there so that the spirits, the souls of the dead, might be gathered into them. For them they were created, so that here they might gather the souls of the sons of men. And these places they made, where they will keep them until the day of judgment and until their appointed time. And that appointed time will be long, until the great judgment comes upon them. And I saw the spirits of sons of men who were dead, and their voices reached heaven and complained. Then I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and said to him, who is this spirit whose voice thus reaches heaven and complains? And he answered me and said to me, saying, this spirit is the one that came out of Abel, whom Cain, his brother, killed. And he will complain about him until his offspring are destroyed from the face of the earth, and from amongst the offspring of men, his offspring perish. Then I asked about him, about the judgment on all, and I said, why is one separated from another? And he answered me and said to me, these 3 places were made in order that they might separate the spirits of the dead, and thus the souls of the righteous have been separated. This is the spring of water, and on it the light. Likewise, a place has been created for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not come upon them during their life. And their souls will be separated for this great torment until the great day of judgment and punishment and torment for those who curse forever, and of vengeance on their souls. And they will be, and there he will bind them forever. Verily, he is from the beginning of the world. Thus I wish I could give you this link. I probably can't do that in my chat room. Yeah, that's not going to work. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Hey, the Bill Show. How you doing? Okay, excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. I just wanted to read you guys the Book of Enoch. So I'll get back to it. But I wanted to share the link in case any of you wanted to read it for yourselves. But then you also have oh no. What'd they do? Take it down? No, I was trying to get you guys the link on YouTube of the full Book of Enoch. Give me a second, please. And I'll give you the link in my chat room. And I'll get back to reading. If y'all don't mind. I love this book. I believe somewhere in Genesis, God does speak about Enoch. So, is this the one?
Book of Enoch. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the...
Okay, that's the right one. So I just want to give to all of you sweet. Okay, I'm just going to read to you guys if you don't mind. Thank you. I'm not in my chat room, but thank you for joining me. So, where was I? Okay, I'm probably going to reread things that I've already read, but forgive me. I lost my place. And he answered me and said to me, these 3 places were made in order that they might separate the spirits of the dead, and thus the souls of the righteousness have been separated. This is the spring of water, and on it the light. Likewise, a place has been created for sinners when they die, and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not come upon them during their life. And here their souls will be separated for this great torment until the great day of judgment and punishment and torment for those who curse forever, and of vengeance on their souls. And there he will bind them forever. Verily, he is the beginning of the world. And thus a place has been separated for the souls of those who complain and give information about their destruction, about when they were killed in the days of the sinners. Thus a place has been created for the souls of men who are not righteous, but sinners, accomplished in wrongdoing, and with the wrongdoers will be their lot. But their souls will not be killed on the day of judgment, nor will they rise from here. Then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of glory and righteousness, who rules everything forever. And from there I went to another place towards the west, to the ends of the earth. And I saw a fire that burnt and ran, without resting or ceasing from running, by day or by night, but continued in exactly the same way. And I asked, saying, What is this which has no rest? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, This burning fire, whose course you saw towards the west, is the fire of all the lights of heaven. And from where I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me a mountain of fire that blazed day and night. And I went towards it and saw 7 magnificent mountains, and all were different from one another, and precious and beautiful stones, and all were precious, and their appearance glorious, and their form was beautiful. 3 towards the east, one fixed firmly on another, and 3 towards the south, one on another, and deep and rugged valleys, no one of which was near another. And there was the 7th mountain in the middle of these, and in their height they were all like the seat of the throne, and fragrant trees surrounded it. And there was among them a tree such as which I have never smelt, and none of them or any others were like it. It smells more fragrant than any fragrance, and its leaves and its flowers and its wood would never wither. Its fruit is good, and its fruit is like bunches of dates on a palm. And then I said, Behold this beautiful tree, beautiful to look at, and pleasant are its leaves, and its fruit very delightful in appearance. And then Michael, one of the holy and honored angels, who was with me and was in charge of them, answered me and said to me, Enoch, why do you ask me about the fragrance of this tree, and why do you inquire to learn? Then I, Enoch, answered him, saying, I wish to learn about everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered me, saying, This high mountain which you saw, whose summit is like the thorn of the Lord, is the throne. Let me start over. And he answered me, saying, This high mountain which you saw, whose summit is like the throne of the Lord, is the throne where the holy and great one, the Lord of glory, the eternal King, will sit when he comes down to visit the earth for good. And this beautiful and fragrant tree, and no creature of flesh has authority to touch it until the great judgment, when he will take vengeance on all and bring everything to a consumption forever. This will be given to the righteous and the humble. From its fruit, the life will be given to the chosen. Towards the north, it will be planted in a holy place by the house of the Lord, the eternal King. And they will rejoice with joy and be glad in the holy place. They will each draw the fragrance of it into their bones, and they will live a long life on earth as your fathers lived. And in their days, sorrow and pain and toil and punishment will not touch them. Then I bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King, because he has prepared such things for righteous men, and has and has created such things and said that they are to be given to them. And from there I went to the middle of the earth and saw a blessed, well-watered place, which had branches which remained alive and sprouted from a tree which had been cut down. And there I saw a holy mountain, and under the mountain to the east of it there was water, and it flowed toward the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain, which was of the same height between them. There was a deep and narrow valley, and in it a stream ran by the mountain. And to the west of this was another mountain, which was lowered than it was, and not... I feel like I'm reading all of this wrong, excuse me. And to the west of this one was another mountain, which was lower than it was, and not high. And under it there was a valley between them. And there were other deep and dry valleys at the end of the three mountains. And all the valleys were deep and narrow, of hard rock, and trees were planted on them. And then I was amazed at the rock, and I was amazed at the valley. I was very much amazed. Then I said, what is the purpose of this blessed land, which is completely full of trees, and of this accursed valley in the middle of them? Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, this accursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here will be gathered together all who speak with their mouths against the Lord. Words are not fitting, and say hard things about his glory. They will not gather them together, and here will be their place of judgment. And in the last days there will be the spectacle of the righteous, judgment upon them, and from the righteous, in front of the righteous forever. For here the merciful will bless the Lord of glory and eternal King. And in the days of the judgment on them, they will bless him on account of his mercy, according as he has assigned to them their lot. I have to make sure my virtual shield's on, excuse me. And in the days of the judgment on them, they will bless him on account of his mercy, according as he has assigned to them their lot. Then I must myself bless the Lord of glory. I addressed him, and I remembered his majesty, as was fitting. And from there I went towards the east to the middle of the mountain of the wilderness, and I saw only desert. But it was full of trees from the seed, and water gushed out over it from above. The torrent which flowed towards the northwest seemed copious, and from all sides there went up spray and mist. And I went to another place from the wilderness. I came near the east of this mountain, and there I saw trees of judgment, especially vessels of fragrance of incense and myrrh, and the trees were not alike. And above the mountains of the east, and not far away, I saw another place, valleys of water, like that which does not fail. And I saw a beautiful tree, and its fragrance was like that of mastic. And by the banks of these valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon, and beyond these valleys I came towards the east, and I saw another mountain on which there were trees, and there flowed out water, and there flowed out from it, as it were, a nectar whose name is Styrax and Galbanum. And beyond this mountain I saw another mountain, and on it there were aloe trees, and those trees were full of fruit, which is like an almond and is hard. And when they take this fruit, it is better than any fragrance. And after these fragrances to the north, as I looked over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of fine nard and fragrant trees of cinnamon and pepper. And from there I went over the summits of those mountains, far away to the east, and I went over to the Red Sea, and I was far from it. And I went over to the angel Zodiael, and I came to the garden of righteousness, and I saw behind those trees many large trees growing there, sweet smelling, large, very beautiful and glorious, the trees of wisdom, from which they eat and know great wisdom. And it is like the carob tree, Carob, and its fruit is like bunches of grapes on a vine, very beautiful. And the smell of this tree spreads and penetrates afar. And I said, this tree is beautiful. How beautiful and pleasing is its appearance. And the holy angel Raphael, who was with me, answered me and said to me, this is the tree of wisdom, from which your ancient father and ancient mother, who were before you, ate and learned wisdom. And their eyes were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven from the garden. And from there I went to the ends of the earth, and I saw there large animals, each different from the other, and also birds, which differed in form, beauty, and call, each different from the other. And to the east of these animals I saw the ends of the earth, on which the heavens rests, and the open gates of heaven. And I saw how the stars of heaven came out and counted the gates out of which they come, and wrote down all their outlets for each one individually according to their number, and their names according to their constellations, their positions, their times, and their mouths, as the angel Uriel, who was with me, showed me. And he showed me everything and wrote it down, and also their names he wrote down for me, and their laws and their functions. And from there I went towards the north, to the ends of the earth, and there I saw a great and glorious wonder at the ends of the whole earth. And there I saw 3 gates of heaven. Through each of them north winds go out. When they blow, there is cold, hail, hoarfrost, snow, fog, and rain. And from one gate it blows for good, and when they blow through the other 2 gates, it is with force. It brings torment over the earth, and they blow with force. And from there I went towards the west, to the ends of the earth, and I saw there, as I saw in the east, 3 open gates, and many gates, and as many outlets. And from there I went towards the south, to the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open, and the south wind, the mist, and the rain and wind come out from there, And from there I went towards the east of the ends of heaven, and there I saw the 3 eastern gates of heaven open, and above them, and there were smaller gates. Through each of these smaller gates, the stars of heaven pass and go towards the west on the path that has been shown to them. And when I saw, I blessed, and I will always bless the Lord of glory, who has made great and glorious wonders, so that might he show the greatness of his work to his angels and to the souls of men, so they might praise his work, and so that all his creatures might see the work of his power and praise the great work of his hands and bless him forever. The book of, oh boy, this is a big word I should know how to pronounce. Excuse me. The book of Methuselah. And after those days, my son, Methuselah, chose a wife for his son, Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white like snow and red like the flower of a rose. And the hair of his head was white like wool, and his eyes were beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he made the whole house bright like the sun. So the whole house was exceptionally bright. And when he was taken from the hand of the midwife, he opened his mouth and spoke to the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled, and went to his father Methuselah. And he said to him, I have begotten a strange son. He is not like a man, but is like the child of the angels of heaven, of a different type, and not like us. And his eyes are like the rays of the sun, and his face glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I am afraid that something extraordinary may be done on the earth in his days. And now, my father, I am entreating you and petitioning you to go to our father Enoch and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling is with the angels. And when Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to me at the ends of the earth. And he had heard that I was there. And he cried out, and I heard his voice and went to him. I said to him, Behold, I am here for my son, for you have come to me. And he answered me and said, Because of a great matter I have come to you, and because of a disturbing vision I have come near. And now hear me, my father, for a child has been born to my son Lamech, whose form and type are not like the type of a man. His color is whiter than snow and redder than the flower of the rose, and his hair of his head is whiter than white wool, and his eyes are like the rays of the sun. And he opens his eyes and made the whole house bright. And he was taken from the hand of the midwife, and he opened his mouth and blessed the Lord of heaven. And his father Lamech was afraid and fled to me. And he does not believe he is sprung from him, but thinks him to be from the angels of heaven. And behold, I have come to you, so that you may make known to me the truth. And I, Enoch, answered and said to him, The Lord will do new things on earth, but this I have already seen in a vision and made known to you. For the generation of my father Jared, some from the height of heaven transgressed the word of the Lord. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have been promiscuous with women, and commit sin with them, and have married some of them, and have begotten children by them. And there will be a great destruction over the whole earth, and there will be a deluge, and there will be great destruction for 1 year. But this child who has been born to you will be left on earth, and his 3 sons will be saved with him. When all the men who are on the earth die, he and his sons will be saved. They will beget on the earth giants, not of spirit, but of flesh. And there will be a great wrath on earth, and the earth will be cleansed of all corruption. And now make known to your son Lamech that the one who has been born is truly his son, and call his name Noah. And call his name Noah, for he will be a remnant for you, and he and his sons will be saved from the destruction which is coming on the earth because of all the sin and the iniquity which will be committed on the earth in his days. But after this there will be yet greater iniquity than that which was committed on the earth before. For I know the mysteries of the holy ones, for the Lord showed them to me and made them known to me, and I read them in the tablets of heaven. Excuse me, that was my cat ripping apart a cardboard box. For I know the mysteries of the holy ones, for the Lord showed them to me and made them known to me, and I read them in the tablets of heaven. And I saw written on them, the generation upon generation will do wrong until the generation of righteousness shall arise, and wrongdoing shall be destroyed, and sin shall depart from the earth, and everything good shall come upon it. And now, my son, go, make known to your son Lamech that this child that has been born is truly his son, and this is no lie. And when Methuselah had heard the words of his father Enoch, for he showed him everything which is secret, he returned, having seen him, and called the name of that child Noah, for he will comfort the earth after all the destruction. And in those days Noah saw the earth had tilted, and that its destruction is near. Let me start that sentence over. And in those days Noah saw the earth had tilted, and that its destruction was near. And he set off from there and went to the ends of the earth and cried out to his great-grandfather Enoch. And Noah said 3 times in a bitter voice, "Hear me, hear me, hear me." And he said to him, "Tell me, what is it that is being done on the earth, that the earth is so afflicted and shaken, lest I be destroyed with it?" And immediately there was a great disturbance on the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell upon my face. And my great-grandfather Enoch came, stood by me, and said to me, "Why do you cry out with such bitter crying and weeping?" I should say that right now I'm reading the book of Noah okay, you guys are following. I get it. Forgive me. And my great-grandfather Enoch came, stood by me, and said to me, "Why do you cry out with such bitter crying and weeping? And a command has gone out from the Lord against those who dwell upon the dry ground, that this must be their end. For they have learnt all the secrets of the angels and all the wrongdoings of the Satans. and all their secret power, and all the power of those who practice magic arts, and the power of enchantments, and the power of those who cast molten images for all the earth. And further, how silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how soft metals occur on the earth. For lead and tin are not produced from the earth, like the former. There is a spring which produces them, and an angel who stands in it, and that angel distributes them. After this, my grandfather Enoch took a hold of me with his hand and raised me and said to me, "Go, for I have asked the Lord of spirits about this disturbance on the earth." He said to me, "Because of their iniquity, their judgment has been completed, and they will no longer be counted for me, because of the sorceries they have searched out and learnt, and the earth and those who dwell upon it will be destroyed. And for those, there will be no place of refuge forever. For they showed to them what is secret, and they have been condemned. But not so for you, my son. The Lord of spirits knows that you are pure and innocent of this reproach concerning the secrets. And he has established your name among the holy, and will keep you from amongst those who dwell upon the dry ground. And he has destined your offspring in righteousness to be kings and for great honors. And from your offspring will flow out a spring of the righteous and holy, without number forever." And after this he showed me the angels of punishment, who are ready to come and release all the forces of the water, which is under the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction on all those who reside and dwell upon the dry ground. And the Lord of spirits commanded the angels who were coming out not to raise their hands, but to keep watch, for those angels were in charge of the forces of the water. And I come out from before Enoch. And in those days the word of the Lord came to me, and he said to me, "Noah, behold, your lot has come up before me, a lot without reproach, a lot of love and rightness. And now the angels are making a wooden structure, and when the angels come out from that task, I will put my hand on it and keep it safe, and a change will take place so that the dry ground may not remain empty. And I will establish your offspring before me forever and ever, and I will scatter those who dwell with you over the face of the dry ground, and I will not again put them to the test on the face of the earth. But they will be blessed and increase on the dry ground in the name of the Lord. And they will shut up those angels who showed iniquity in that burning valley, which my great-grandfather Enoch has shown to me previously in the west, near the mountains of gold and silver and iron and soft metal and tin. And I saw that valley in which there was a great disturbance and heaving of the waters. And when all this happened from the fiery molten metal and the disturbance which disturbed the waters in that place, a smell of sulfur was pronounced, and it was associated with those waters, and that valley of those angels who led men astray burns under the ground. And through the valleys of that same area flow out rivers of fire, where those angels will be punished, who led astray those on the dry ground. And in those days those waters will serve the kings and the mighty and the exalted, and those who dwell upon the dry ground, for the healing of soul and body, but also for the punishment of the spirit. And their spirits are so full of lust that they will be punished in their bodies, for they denied the Lord of spirits, and they see their punishment every day, yet they do not believe his name. And the more their bodies are burned, the more a change will come over their spirits forever and ever. For no one can speak an idle word in front of the Lord of spirits. And those same waters will undergo a change in those days, for those angels are punished in those days. The temperature for those springs of water will change, and when the angels come up, that water of the springs will change and become cold. And I heard the holy Michael answering and saying, this judgment with which the angels are judged is a testimony for the kings and the mighty who possess the dry ground. For those waters of judgment serve for the healing of the bodies of the kings and for the lust of their bodies. But they do not see and do not believe, and these waters will change and will become a fire which burns forever. And after this, my great-grandfather Enoch gave me the explanation of all the secrets in a book and the parables that had been given to him. And he put them together for me in the words of the book of parables. The book of parables. The second vision that he saw, the vision of wisdom, which Enoch, the son of Jared, the son of Malalel, and the son of Canaan, the son of Enoch, the son of Seth, the son of Adam saw. And this is the beginning of the words of wisdom, which I raised my voice to speak and say to those who dwell on dry ground, hear, you men of old, and see those who come after the words of the Holy One, which I will speak in front of the Lord of spirits. It would have been better to have said these things before, but from those who come after, we will not withhold the beginning of wisdom. Until now there has been not given by the Lord of spirits such wisdom as I have received, in accordance with my insight, in accordance with the wish of the Lord of spirits, by whom the lot of eternal life has been given to me. And the three parables were imparted to me, and I raised my voice, and I said to those who dwell on the dry ground. Okay, this is the first parable. Excuse me, one moment. I'm sorry, I just need a couple of seconds. The first parable. When the community of the righteous appears and the sinners are judged for their sins and are driven from the face of the dry ground, and when the righteous one appears in front of the chosen righteous, whose marks are weighed by the Lord of spirits, and when light appears to the righteous and chosen who dwell on the dry ground, where will be the dwelling of the sinners? And where will be the resting place of those who denied the Lord of spirits? It would have been better for them if they had not been born. And when the secrets of the righteous are revealed, the sinners will be judged. And the impious driven from the presence of the righteous and the chosen. And from then on, those who possess the earth will not be mighty and exalted, nor will they be able to look at the face of the holy ones. For the light of the Lord of the spirits will have appeared on the face of the holy and the righteous and the chosen. And the mighty kings will at that time be destroyed and given into the hand of the righteous and the holy. And from then on, no one will be able to seek the Lord of spirits, for their life will be at an end. And it will come to pass in these days that the chosen and holy children will come down from the high heavens, and their offspring will become one with the sons of men. In those days, Enoch received books of indignation and anger and books of tumult and confusion, and there will be no mercy for them, says the Lord of spirits. And at that time, clouds and a storm wind carried me off from the face of the earth and set me down at the end of heaven. And there I saw another vision, the dwelling of the righteous and the resting places of the holy. There my eyes saw their dwelling with the angels and their resting places with the holy ones. And they were petitioning and supplicating and praying on behalf of the sons of men, and righteousness, like water, flowed in front of them, and mercy like dew on the ground. Thus it is among them forever and ever. And in those days my eyes saw the place of the chosen ones of righteousness and faith, and there will be righteousness in their days, and the righteous and chosen will be without number in front of him forever and ever. I saw their dwelling under the wings of the Lord of spirits, and all the righteous and chosen shone in front of him like the light of fire, and their mouths were full of blessing, and their lips praised the name of the Lord of spirits. And the righteous will not fail in front of him, and truth will not fail in front of him. There I wished to dwell, and my soul longed for that dwelling. There had my lot been assigned before, and thus it was decided about me in front of the Lord of spirits. And in those days I praised and exalted the name of the Lord of spirits with blessing and praise, for he has destined me for blessing and praise in accordance with the Lord of spirits. And for a long time my eyes looked at that place and blessed him and praised him, saying, Blessed is he, and may he be blessed from the beginning and forever. And in his presence there is no end. He knew before the world was created what the world will be, even for the generations that are to come. Those who do not sleep bless you, and they stand before. Those who do not sleep bless you, and they stand before your glory and bless and praise and exalt, saying, Holy, 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 Lord of spirits, he fills the earth with spirits. And there my eyes saw all those who do not sleep, standing in front of him and blessing and saying, Blessed are you, blessed is the name of the Lord forever and ever. And my face was transformed until I was unable to see. And after this I saw thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, a multitude beyond number, or reckon I can't reckoning who stood in front of the glory of the Lord of Spirits. I looked, and on the other four sides of the Lord of Spirits, I saw four figures, different from those who were standing. And I learned their names because the angel who went with me made known their names, and he showed me all the secret things. And I heard the voices of those four figures as they sang praises in front of the Lord of Glory. The first voice blesses the Lord of Spirits forever and ever. The second voice I heard blessing the chosen one, and the chosen one who depend on the Lord of Spirits. And the third voice I heard petitioned and prayed on behalf of those who dwell on dry ground and supplicate in the name of the Lord of Spirits. And the fourth voice I heard driving away the Satans and not allowing them to come in front of the Lord of Spirits to accuse those who dwell on the high ground. And after this, I asked the angel of peace, who went with me and showed me everything which is secret. Who are those four figures whom I have seen and whose words I have heard and written down? And he said to me, the first is the Holy Michael, the merciful and long-suffering. The second, who is in charge of all the diseases and in charge of all the wounds of the sons of man, is Raphael. And the third, who is in charge of all the powers, is the Holy Gabriel. And the fourth, who is in charge of repentance and hope those who will inherit eternal life, is Phanuel. And those are the four angels of the Lord Most High, and the four voices that I heard in those days. And after this, I saw all the secrets of heaven, and how the kingdom is divided, and how the deeds of men are weighed in the balance. There I saw the dwelling of the chosen and the resting places of the holy. And my eyes saw all the sinners who deny the name of the Lord of Spirits being driven from there. And they dragged them off, and they were not able to remain because of the punishment that went out from the Lord of Spirits. And there my eyes saw the secrets of the flashes of lightning and of the thunder and the secrets of the winds, how they were distributed in order to blow over the earth, and the secrets of the clouds and of the dew. And there I saw from where they go out in that place, and how from there the dust of the earth is saturated. And there I saw closed storehouses from which the winds are distributed, and the storehouse of the hail, and the storehouse of the mist, and the storehouse of the clouds. And its cloud remained over the earth from the beginning of the world. And I saw the chambers of the sun and the moon, where they go out and where they return, and their glorious return, and how one is more honored than the other is, and their magnificent course, and how they do not leave their course, neither adding nor subtracting from their course, and how they keep faith in one another, observing their oath. And the sun goes out first and completes its journey at the command of the Lord of Spirits, and his name endures forever and ever. And after this, the hidden and visible path of the moon, and it travels the course of its journey in that place by day and by night. One stands opposite the other, the front of the Lord of Spirits, and they give thanks and sing praise and do not rest, because their thanksgiving is like rest to them. For the shining sun makes revolutions for a blessing and for a curse. And the path of the moon is for the righteous light, but for the sinners, darkness. In the name of the Lord, who has created a division between light and darkness, and has divided the spirits of men, and has established the spirits of righteous in the name of his righteousness. For no angel hinders, and no power is able to hinder, because the judge sees them all and judges them all himself. Wisdom found no place where she could dwell, and her dwelling was in heaven. Wisdom went out in order to dwell among the sons of man, but did not find a dwelling. Wisdom returned to her place and took her seat in the midst of the angels. And iniquity came out from her chambers. Those whom she did not seek, she found. Those whom she did not seek, she found, and dwelt among them, like rain in the desert, and like dew on the parched ground. And again I saw flashes of lightning and the stars of heaven, and I saw how he called them all by their names, and they obeyed him. And I saw the balance of righteousness, how they were weighed according to their light, according to the wisdom of their areas, and the day of their appearing, and how the revolutions producing lightning, and how I saw the revolutions according to the number of the angels, and how they keep faith with one another. And I asked the angel who went with me and showed me what is secret. What are these? And he said to me, their likeness, the Lord of spirits, has shown to you. These are the names of the righteous who dwell on the dry ground and believe in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. And other things I saw concerning lightning, how some of the stars rise and become lightning before, And other things I saw concerning lightning, how some of the stars rise and become lightning, cannot lose their form. And this is the second parable about those who deny the name of the dwelling of the holy ones and of the Lord of spirits. They will not ascend to heaven, nor will they come upon the earth. Such will be the lot of the sinners who deny the name of the Lord of spirits, and who will thus be kept for the day of affliction and distress. On that day, the chosen one will sit on the throne of glory and will choose their works. And their resting places will be without number, and their spirits within them will grow strong when they see my chosen one and those who appeal to my holy and glorious name. And on the day, I will cause my chosen one to dwell among them, and I will transform heaven and make it an eternal blessing and light. And I will transform the dry ground and make it a blessing, and I will cause my chosen ones to dwell upon it. But those who commit sin and evil will not tread upon it. For I have seen and have satisfied with peace my righteous ones, and I have placed in front of me, and have placed them in front of me. But for the sinners, my judgment draws near, so that I may destroy them from the face of the earth. And there I saw one who had a head of days, quote unquote, head of days, and his head was white like wool, And with him there was another face. Excuse me. Excuse me. And with him there was another whose face had the appearance of a man, and his face was full of grace, like one of the holy angels. And I asked one of the holy angels who went with me and showed me all the secrets about the Son of Man, who he was, and from where he was, and why he went with the head of days. And he answered me and said to me, "This is the Son of Man who is righteous and with whom righteousness dwells. He will reveal all treasures of that which is secret, for the Lord of spirits has chosen him, and through uprightness his lot has surpassed all others in front of the Lord of spirits forever. And this Son of Man, who you have seen, will rouse the kings and the powerful from their resting places, and the strong from their thrones, and will loose the reins of the strongs, and will break the teeth of the sinners. And he will cast down the kings from their thrones and from their kingdoms, for they do not exalt him, and do not praise him, and do not humbly acknowledge from where their kingdom was given to them. And he will cast down the faces of the strong, and shame will fill them, and darkness will be their dwelling, and worms will be their resting place. And they will have no hope of rising from their resting places, for they do not exalt the name of the Lord of spirits. And these are they who judge the stars of heaven, and raise their hands against the Most High, and trample upon the dry ground, and dwell upon it. And all their deeds show iniquity, and their power rests upon their riches, and their faith is not in their gods that they have made with their hands. And their faith is in their gods they have made with their hands, and they deny the name of the Lord of spirits. And they will be driven from the houses of his congregation and of the faithful who depend on the name of the Lord of spirits. And in those days, the prayer of the righteous and the blood of the righteous who have ascended from the earth in front of the Lord of spirits. In these days, the holy ones who live in heaven above will unite with one voice and supplicate and pray and praise and give thanks and bless in the name of the Lord of spirits, because of the blood of the righteous that has been poured out, and because of the prayer of the righteous, so that it may cease in front of the Lord of spirits, so that justice might be done to them, that their patience may not have to last forever. And in those days, I saw the head of days sit down on the throne of his glory, and the books of the living were opened in front of him. And all his host, which dwell in the heavens above, and his council were standing before him. And the hearts of the holy ones were full of joy that the number of righteousness had been reached, and the prayer of the righteous had been heard, and the blood of the righteous had not been required in front of the Lord of spirits. And in that place I saw an inexhaustible spring of righteousness, and many springs of wisdom surrounded it. And all the thirsty drank from them and were filled with wisdom. And their dwelling was with the righteous and the holy and the chosen. And at that hour, that Son of Man was named in the presence of the Lord of spirits, and his name brought to the head of days. Even before the sun and the constellations were created, before the stars of heaven were made, his name was named in front of the Lord of spirits. He will be a staff to the righteous and the holy, so that they may lean on him and not fall. And he will be the light of the nations, and he will be the hope of those who grieve in their hearts. All those who dwell upon dry ground will fall down and worship in front of him, and they will bless and praise and celebrate with psalms the name of the Lord of spirits. And because of this, he was chosen and hidden in front of him before the world was created and forever. But the wisdom of the Lord of spirits has revealed to him the holy and the righteous, for he has kept safe the lot of the righteous, for they have hated and rejected his world of iniquity and all its works and its ways. They have hated the name of the Lord of spirits. For in his name they are saved, and he is the one who will require their lives. And in those days the kings of the earth and the strong who possess the dry ground will have downcast faces because of the works of their hands. For on the day of their distress and the trouble they will not save themselves. And I will give them into the hands of my chosen ones, like straw in fire and like lead in water. So they will burn in front of the righteous and sink in front of the holy, and no trace will be found of them. And on the day of their trouble, there will be rest on the earth, and they will fall down in front of him and will not rise. And there will be no one who will take them with his hands and raise them, for they denied the law of the spirits and his Messiah. May the name of the Lord of spirits be blessed. For wisdom has been poured out like water, and glory will not fail in front of him forever and ever. For he is powerful in the secrets of righteousness and iniquity, and will pass away like a shadow, and will have no existence. For the chosen one stands in front of the Lord of spirits, and his glory is forever and ever, and his power for all generations. And in him dwell the spirit of wisdom. And in him dwell the spirit of wisdom, and the spirit that gives understanding, and the spirit of knowledge and of power, and the spirit of those who sleep in righteousness. And he will judge the things that are secret, and no one will be able to say an idle word in front of him. For he has chosen in front of the Lord of spirits in accordance with his wish. And in those days, a change will occur for the holy and the chosen. The light of days will rest upon them, and the glory and honor will return to the holy. And the day of trouble, calamity, will be heaped up over the sinners. But the righteous will conquer in the name of the Lord of spirits, and he will show this to others, so they might repent and abandon the works of their hands. And they will have no honor in front of the Lord of spirits, but in his name they will be saved. And the Lord of spirits will have mercy on them, for his mercy is great, and he is righteous in his judgment. And in front of his glory, iniquity will not be able to stand against his judgment. He who does not repent will be destroyed. He who does not repent will be destroyed. And from then on, I will not have mercy on them, says the Lord of spirits. And in those days, the earth will return that which has been entrusted to it, and Sheol will return that which has been entrusted to it, and that which it has received, and destruction will return what it owes. And he will choose the righteous and the holy from among them. And the day has come near when they must be saved. And in those days, the chosen one will sit on his throne, and all the secrets of wisdom will flow out from the counsel of his mouth. For the Lord of spirits has appointed and glorified him, And in those days, the mountains will leap like reins, and the hills will skip like lambs satisfied with milk, and will become angels in heaven. Their faces will shine with joy, for in those days the chosen will have risen, and the earth will rejoice, and the righteous will dwell upon it, and the chosen will walk upon it. After those days, in the place where I had all the visions of that which is secret, for I had been carried off by a whirlwind, and they had brought me to the west. There my eyes saw the secrets of heaven, everything that will occur on earth, the mountain of iron and the mountain of copper, and the mountain of silver, and the mountain of gold, and the mountain of soft metal, and the mountain of lead. And I asked the angel who went with me, saying, what are these things which I have seen in secret? And he said to me, all these things which you have seen serve the authority of his Messiah, so that he may be strong and powerful on the earth. And that angel of peace answered me, saying, wait a little, and you will see, and everything which is secret, which is the Lord of spirits has established, will be revealed to you. And these mountains that you have seen, the mountain of iron, and the mountain of copper, and the mountain of silver, and the mountain of gold, and the mountain of soft metal, and the mountain of lead, all these in front of the chosen one will be like wax before fire. And like the water that comes down from above onto these mountains, they will be weak under his feet. And it will come to pass in those days that neither gold nor silver will men save themselves. They will be unable to save themselves or to flee. And there will be neither iron for war nor metal for a breastplate. Bronze will be no use, and tin will be of no use, and will count for nothing, and lead will not be wanted. All these will be wiped out and destroyed from the face of the earth when the chosen one appears in front of the Lord of spirits. And there my eyes saw a deep valley, and its mouth was open. All those who dwell upon dry ground and the sea and the islands will bring gifts and presents and offerings to him. But the deep valley will not become full. And their hands commit evil, and everything at which the righteous toil, the sinners evilly devour. And so the sinners will be destroyed in front of the Lord of spirits, and will be banished from the face of his earth, unceasingly forever and ever. For I saw the angels of punishment going and preparing all the instruments of Satan. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, and I said to him, these instruments, for whom are they preparing them? And he said to me, they are preparing these for the kings and the power of this earth, so that by means of them may be destroyed. And after this, the righteous and chosen will cause the house of his congregation to appear. From then on, in the name of the Lord of spirits, they will not be hindered. And in front of them, these mountains will not be firm like the earth, and the hills will be like a spring of water, and the righteous will have rest from the ill-treated treatment of the sinners. And I looked and turned to another part of the earth, and I saw there a deep valley with burning fire. And they brought the kings and powerful and threw them into the valley. And there my eyes saw how they made instruments for them, iron chains of immeasurable weight. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, saying, these chain instruments, for whom are they being prepared? And he said to me, these are being prepared for the hosts of Azazel, so that they may take them and throw them into the lowest part of hell, and they will cover their jaws with raw stones, as the Lord of spirits commanded. And Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, Uel, these will take hold of them on that great day, and throw them on that day into the furnace of burning fire, so that the Lord of spirits may take vengeance on them for their iniquity, in that they become servants of Satan, and led astray those who dwell upon the dry ground. And in those days the punishment of the Lord of spirits will go out, and all the storehouses of the waters which are above the sky and under the earth will be opened. And all the waters will be joined with the waters that are above the sky. The water is above the sky is male, and the water that is under the earth is female. And all those who dwell upon the dry ground, and all those who dwell under the ends of heaven, will be wiped out. And because of this, they will acknowledge their iniquity, which they have committed on the earth, and through this they will be destroyed. And after this, the head of days repented and said, I have destroyed to no purpose all those who dwell upon the dry earth. And he swore by his great name, from now on I will not act like this towards all those who dwell upon the dry ground. And I will put a sign in heaven, and it will be a pledge of faith between me and them forever, so long as heaven is above the earth. And this will be in accordance with my command. When I want to take hold of them with the hands of the angels, on the day of distress and in pain, in the face of my anger and my wrath and anger will remain upon them, says the Lord of spirits. You powerful kings who dwell upon the dry ground will be obligated to watch my chosen sit down on the throne of my glory and judge in the name of the Lord of spirits, Azazel, and all his associates and all his hosts. And I saw there the hosts of the angels of punishment as they went, and they were holding chains of iron and bronze. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, saying, to whom are those who are holding the chains going? And he said to me, each to his own chosen ones, and to their beloved ones, so that they may be thrown into the chasm in the depths of the valley. And then the valley will be filled with their chosen and beloved ones, and the days of their life will be at an end, and the days of their leading astray will no longer be counted. And in those days the angels will gather together and will throw themselves towards the east upon the Parthians and Medes, excuse me. They will stir up the kings so that a disturbing spirit will come upon them, and they will drive them from their thrones, and they will continue out like lions from their lairs, and like hungry wolves in the middle of their flocks. And they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones, and the land of my chosen ones will become before them a tramping ground and a beaten track. But the city of my righteous ones will be a hindrance to their horses, and they will stir up slaughter amongst themselves, and their own right hand will be strong against them. And a man will not admit to knowing his neighbor, or his brother, nor a son his father, or his mother, until through their death there are corpses enough, and their punishment, it will not be in vain. And in those days Sheol will open its mouth, and they will sink into it, and their destruction. Sheol will swallow up the sinners in front of the faces of the chosen. And it will come to pass after this that I saw another host of chariots with men riding on them, and they came upon the wind from the east and from the west to the south. And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when this occurred, the holy ones observed it from heaven, and the pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations, and the sound was heard from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven throughout one day. And all will fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. And this is the end of the second parable. Do you guys know there's 160 pages to the book of Enoch? And right now, I am only on the 75th page. Wow. Excuse me, I'm scrolling through the document. Wow. Well, how you guys doing in my chat room? Are you guys okay? Have I put you guys to sleep yet? Listening as best you can. I'll be honest, I used to fall asleep listening to the book of Enoch night after night. And then there were some nights that I would start the book of Enoch halfway through because I heard the first part and I felt that I kind of knew it well. But I guess once you're 75 pages into 160, what I would do is there were some nights that I would fast forward the book of Enoch halfway through to listen to the second half. And I kid you guys not, I would fall asleep to it and just have the sweetest dreams. In the Holy Bible, my favorites are Enoch, Job, Samson, the woman at the well, I'd have to say off the top of my head, Esther, I believe is her name. They're my favorite in the Bible. I can relate. So sadly, I got my hair chopped a few years ago because my cat ate it off. And at the time, the couple of people that I did know face to face were laughing and joking and wanting pictures and videos of my hair being chopped. And meanwhile, I'm crying my eyes out. I don't think that's a Kodak moment. But hey, to each his own, right? I'm sorry, just give me a moment to take a break. How about, if you guys don't mind, well, that's only 11 more pages. If you all in my chat room do not mind, Keeper. Hey, excuse me a second, guys. Come here. Stop. Come here. Come here, honey. What are you doing? No. I love you. Oh, come here. Up. No, later. Excuse me, my dog is having some allergic reactions and I needed to check on her. I needed to stop and take a break for a moment. I'm still not in my chat room, so forgive me. Well, how about if I finish reading the third parable and then I will close down this broadcast, and then tomorrow when I'm supposed to be writing my autobiography book, I'll hop back online and I'll pick up with the storehouses of Enoch. But let me finish the third parable and then I'll end it. Okay? It's going to take me a little bit. If you don't mind. This is like my favorite all-time book of the Holy Bible. I know it's not in the Holy Bible, but it should be. Can you guys give me 2 minutes to take a powder room break? Forgive me. I apologize. I just need a couple minutes. Forgive me. Powder room break, and I'll be right back. and I'm back. I'm sorry. Keepies, don't do it. Oh, my poor dog has allergies. This is where I need an editor so I can take this video and just chop out the parts where I needed a break. The third parable. And I began to speak the third parable about the righteous and about the chosen. Blessed are you, the righteous and the chosen, for your lot will be glorious, and the righteous will be in the light of the sun, and the chosen in the light of eternal life. And there will be no end to the days of their life, and the days of the holy will be without number. And they will seek the light and will find righteousness with the Lord of the spirits. Peace be to the righteous with the Lord of the world. And after this, it will be said to the holy that they should seek in heaven the spirits of righteousness, the lot of faith. For it has become bright as the sun upon the dried ground, and the darkness has passed away, and there will be ceaseless light, and to a number of days they will not come, for darkness will have been destroyed previously, and the light will endure in front of the Lord of spirits, and the light of uprightness will endure in front of the Lord of spirits forever. In the 50th year, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month of the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how the heaven of heavens was shaken violently, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were extremely disturbed. And then I saw the head of days sitting on the throne of his glory, and the angels were righteous. And the angels and righteous were sitting in front of him. And a great trembling seized me, and a fear took a hold of me, and my loins collapsed and gave way, and my whole being melted, and I fell upon my face. And the holy Michael sent another holy angel of the holy angels, and he raised me. And when he raised me, my spirit returned, for I had been unable to endure the sight of that host, and the disturbance, and the shaking of heaven. And the holy Michael said to me, what sight has disturbed you like this? Until today has the day of his mercy lasted, and he has been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell upon the dry ground. And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment came to the Lord of spirits, and when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment that came, the Lord of spirits has prepared for those who worship the righteous judgment and for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain. And that day has been prepared for the chosen a covenant, but for sinners a visitation. And on that day, two monsters will be separated from one another. And, a female monster whose name is Leviathan, to dwell in the depths of the sea, above the springs of the waters. And the name of the male is Behemoth, who occupies with his breast an immense desert named Denedain, on the east of the garden where the chosen and the righteous dwell. Where my great-grandfather was received, who was seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of Spirits made. And I asked that angel to show me the power of those monsters and how they were separated on one day and thrown, one into the depths of the sea and the other on to the dry ground of the desert. He said to me, Son of man, you here wish to know what is secret. And the angel of peace who was with me said to me, these two monsters, prepared in accordance with the greatness of the Lord, will feed them that punishment of the Lord. And children will be killed with their mothers, and sons with their fathers. When the punishment of the Lord of Spirit rests upon them, it will remain resting so that the punishment of the Lord of Spirits may not come in vain upon these. Afterwards, the judgment will be according to his mercy and his patience. Excuse me. And in those days I saw long cords given to those angels, and they acquired wings for themselves and flew and went towards the north. And I asked the angel, saying, why did these take the long cords and go? And he said to me, they went so they may measure. And the angel who went with me said to me, these will bring the measurements of the righteousness and the ropes of the righteous to the righteous, that they may rely on the name of the Lord of Spirits forever and ever. The chosen will begin to dwell with the chosen, and these measurements will be given to faith and will strengthen righteousness. And these measurements will reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, and those who were destroyed by the desert, and those who were devoured by the fish of the sea and by the animals, that they may return and rely on the day of the chosen one. And for no one will be destroyed in front of the Lord of Spirits, and no one can be destroyed. And all of these in the heavens above received a command and power, and one voice, and one light like fire was given to them. And him, before everything, they blessed and exalted and praised in wisdom. They showed themselves wise in speech and in the spirit of life. And the Lord of the Spirit set the chosen one on the throne of his glory, and he will be judged all the works of the holy ones in heaven above, and in the balance he will weigh their deeds. And when he lifts his face to judge their secret ways, according to the word of the name of the Lord of Spirits, and their path according to the way of the righteous judgment of the Lord Most High. And they will speak with one voice and bless and praise and exalt and glorify the name of the Lord of Spirits. Excuse me 1 second. Keeper. And he will call all the hosts of the heaven and all the holy ones above, and the host of the Lord, the cherubim and the seraphim and the Ophanim. I heard this word before. Ophanim. And the angels of power and the angels of principalities and the chosen one and the other host that is upon the dry ground and over the water on that day. Keeper. Excuse me. And they will raise one voice and will bless and praise and glorify and exalt in the spirit of faith and in the spirit of wisdom and of patience and in the spirit of mercy and in the spirit of justice and of peace and in the spirit of goodness. They will all say with one voice, Blessed is he, and blessed be the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. All those who do not sleep in heaven above will bless him. All his holy ones who are in heaven will bless him, and all the chosen ones who dwell in the garden of life, and every spirit able to bless and praise and exalt and hallow your holy name. And all flesh, which to the limit of its power and praise and bless your name forever and ever. For great is the mercy of the Lord of spirits, and he is long-suffering, and all his works and all his forces, as many as he has made, he has revealed to the righteous and the chosen in the name of the Lord of spirits. And thus the Lord commanded the kings and the almighty and the exalted and those who dwell upon the earth, and said, Open your eyes and raise your horns, if you are able to acknowledge the chosen one. And the Lord of spirits sat on his throne of glory, and the spirit of righteousness poured out on him, and the word of his mouth kills all the sinners and all the lawless, and they are destroyed in front of him. And on that day all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who possess the earth will stand up, and they will see and recognize he who sits on the throne of his glory. And the righteous are judged in righteousness in front of him, and no idle word is spoken in front of him. And pain will come upon them as upon a woman in labor, for whom giving birth is difficult when her child enters the mouth of the womb, and she has difficulty giving birth. And one half of them will look at the other, and they will be terrified, and will cast down their faces, and pain will take hold of them when they see that Son of Woman sitting on the throne of his glory. And the mighty kings and all those who possess the earth will praise and bless and exalt him, who rules everything that is hidden. For from the beginning that Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High kept him in the presence of his power, and revealed him only to the chosen. And the community of the holy and the chosen will be sown, and all the chosen will stand before him on that day. And all the mighty kings and the exalted and those who rule the dry ground will fall down before him on their faces and worship. And they will set their hopes on that Son of Man, and will entreat him, and will petition for mercy from him. But the Lord of spirits will then so press them that they will hasten to go out before him, and their faces will be filled with shame, and the darkness will grow deeper on their faces. And the angels of punishment will take them so that they may repay them for the wrong that they did to his children and to his chosen ones. And they will become a spectacle to the righteous and to his chosen ones. They will rejoice over them, for the anger of the Lord of spirits will rest upon them, and the sword of the Lord of spirits will be drunk with them. And the righteous and the chosen will be saved on that day, and they will never see the faces of the sinners and the lawless from then on. And the Lord of the spirits will remain over them, and the Son of Man, and the Lord of spirits will remain over them, and with the Son of Man they will dwell and eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. And the righteous and chosen will have risen from the earth and will have ceased to cast down their faces, and will have put on the garment of life. This will be a garment of life from the Lord of spirits, and your garments will not wear out, and your glory will not fail in front of the Lord of spirits. In those days, the mighty kings who possess the dry ground will entreat the angels of his punishment, to whom they have handed over, so that they might give them a little respite, and so that they might fall down and worship in front of the Lord of spirits and confess their sins in front of him. And they will bless and praise the Lord of spirits and say, Blessed be the Lord of spirits and the Lord of kings, the Lord of the mighty, and the Lord of the rich, and the Lord of the glory, and the Lord of wisdom. And everything secret is clear in front of you, and your power is for all generations, and your glory is forever and ever. Deep and without number are all your secrets, and righteousness is beyond reckoning. Now we realize that we ought to praise and bless the Lord of kings and the one who is king over all kings. And they will say, would that might not be given a respite, so that we might praise and thank and bless him and make our confession in front of his glory. And now we long for respite, but do not find it. We are driven off and do not obtain it. The light has passed away from before us, and darkness will be our dwelling forever and ever. For we have not made our confession before him, and we have not praised the name of the Lord of kings, and we have not praised the Lord for all his works, but hopes have been on the scepter of our kingdom and of our glory. And on the day of our affliction and distress, he does not save us. And we will find no respite to make our confession that our Lord is faithful in all his doings and in all his judgments and his justice, and that his judgments shall not and that his judgments show no respect for persons. And we pass in front of him because of all our works, and all our sins have been counted exactly. Then they will say to them, our souls be sated with possessions gained through iniquity, but they do not prevent our going down into the flames of the torment of Sheol. And after this, their faces will be filled with darkness and shame. And in front of that Son of Man, they will be driven away from him, and the sword will dwell among them in front of him. And thus says the Lord of spirits, this is the Lord in judgment for the mighty and the kings and the exalted, and for those who possess the dry ground in front of the Lord of spirits. and I saw other figures hidden in that place. I heard the voice of the angel saying, "These are the angels who came down from heaven onto earth and revealed what is secret to the sons of man, and led astray the sons of men, so that they committed sin. And on that day, the holy Michael answered Raphael, saying, the power of the Spirit seizes me and makes me tremble because of the harshness of the judgment of the angels." Who can endure the harshness of the judgment which has been executed and before which they melt with fear? I'm going to digress right here. Everybody, remember this. We judge the angels. We human beings, you and I, judge the angels. Remember that. Back to the book. There were so many times that I wanted to say something about this book and be like, yes, that's the four horsemen, or yes, that's the seals, yes, that's this, that, the other thing. And I'm trying to bite my tongue and just read through this. And it's not about my 2 cents. I'm reading Enoch's testimony. But I just want to remind you guys that we humans judge the angels. And that's just another reason why they hate us. And fallen angels are also known as aliens. Back to Enoch's book, and enough of me talking. Well, and after this, their faces will be filled with darkness and shame in front of that Son of Man, and they will be driven away from him. And the sword will dwell among them in front of him. And thus says the Lord of Spirits, this is the law and judgment for the mighty and the kings and the exalted, and for those who possess the dry ground in front of the Lord of Spirits. And I saw other figures hidden in that place. I heard the voice of the angel saying, these are the angels who came down from heaven onto earth and revealed what is secret to the sons of men, and led astray the sons of men, so they committed sin. And on that day, the holy Michael answered Raphael, saying, the power of the Spirit seizes me and makes me tremble because of the harshness of the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the harshness of the judgment which has been executed and before which they melt with fear? And the holy Michael answered Raphael again and said to him, who would not soften his heart over it, whose mind would not be disturbed by this word? Judgment has gone out against them upon those whom they have led out like this. But it came to pass then he stood before the Lord of Spirits, and the holy Michael spoke as follows to Raphael. I will not take their part under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of Spirits is angry with them, because they act as if they are the Lord. Because of this, the hidden judgment will come upon them forever and ever, for neither any angel nor any man will receive their lot, but they alone receive their judgment forever and ever. And after this judgment, I will terrify them and make them tremble, for they have shown this to those who dwell upon the dry ground. And behold, the names of those angels. The first of them is Simyaza. The second is okay, guys, I'm going to copy and paste this and then I'll read it. Hang on. The first of them is Simyaza, and the second Artikaifa. Kind of sounds like Antifa. And the third, Armin. And the fourth, Kokbael. And the fifth, Turael. And the sixth, Ramael. And the seventh, Daniel. And the eighth, Nukael. And the ninth, Barakael. And the 10th, Azazel. And the 11th, Maros. The 12th, Batrael. The 13th, Basasael. And the 14th, Ananel. And the 15th, Turiel. And the 16th, Samsael. And the 17th, Yetrael. And the 18th, Tamael. And the 19th, Turiel. And the 12th, Ramael. And the 21st, Azazel. Sounds like we got more than 5 Satans on this earth. I'm going to digress. It sounds like we have a lot more than 5 Satans down on this earth. Back to the book of Enoch. Excuse me that I slaughtered the names and mispronounced them. And these are the chiefs of their angels and the names of the leaders of hundreds and their leaders of 50s and their leaders of 10s. The name of the first is Yakun. Yikun. No. Yakun. I don't know. It sounds like we got 21 of them deaf bred. Excuse me. So back to the book. Jeez. Oh my, wow. The name of the first is Yakun. This is the one who led astray all of the children of the holy angels. And he brought them down unto the dry ground and led them astray through the daughters of men. And the name of the second is Asbeel. This one, Asbeel. This one suggested an evil plan to the children of the holy angels and led them astray so that they corrupted their bodies with the daughters of men. And the name of the third is Gadrael, Gadreel. This is the one that showed all the deadly blows of the sons of men. He led Eve astray, and he showed the weapons of death to the children of men, the shield and the breastplate and the sword of slaughter and all the weapons of death to the sons of men. And from his hand they gave out against those who dwell the dry ground from that time forever and ever. And the name of the fourth is Penemu. This one showed the sons of men the bitter and the sweet, and showed them all the secrets of their wisdom. He taught men the art of writing with ink and paper, and through this many have gone astray from eternity to eternity and to this day. For men were not created for this. They should confirm their faith like this. Excuse me, did I read that right? For men were not created for this, that they should confirm their faith like this with pen and ink. For men were created no differently from the angels, so that they might remain righteous and pure, and death and destroys everything would not have touched them. But through this knowledge of theirs, they are being destroyed, and through this power, death consumes them. And the name of the fifth is I'm going to digress. Deaf breed. Bread. You know what deaf breed? Okay, so aha. 5 Satans of this world. All right, so back to the book of Enoch. It's kind of, I'll take this up in another time, excuse me. And the name of the fifth is Kazadei. This one showed the sons of men all the evil blows of the spirits and of the demons, and the blows that attack the embryo in the womb so that it miscarries, and the blows that attack the soul, the bite of the serpent, and the blows that occur at midday, and the son of the serpent who is strong. I get the 5 Satans now. Okay, back to the book of Enoch. Excuse me. I guess it took me reading it. I'm learning. I don't know what else to say. And this is the task of Kesbeel, Kesbeel, the chief of the oath, who showed the oath to the holy ones when he dwelt on high in glory. And his name is Becca. And this one told the holy Michael that he should show him the secret name so that they might mention it in the oath, so that those who showed the sons of men everything that is secret trembled before the name of that name and oath. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed his oath, a K, Aki, in the charge of the Holy Michael. I'm going to read that again. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath, a K, in the charge of the Holy Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath, and they are strong through this oath. And heaven was suspended before the world was created and forever. And through it, the earth was founded upon the water, and from the hidden recesses of the mountains come beautiful waters from the creation of the world and forever. And through that oath, the sea was created and its foundations for the time of anger. He placed for it the sand, and it does not go beyond it from the creation of the world and forever. And through that oath, the deeps were made firm, and they stand and do not move from their place from the creation of the world and forever. And through the oath, the sun and the moon complete their course and do not transgress their command from the creation of the world and forever. And through that oath, the stars complete their course. He called their names, and they answer him from the creation of the world and forever. And likewise, the spirits of the world, water, of the wind, and of the breezes, and their paths, according to all groups of the spirits. And there are kept the storehouses of the sound of thunder and of the light of lightning. And there are kept the storehouses of hail and of hoarfrost, and the storehouses of the mist, and the storehouses of the rain and dew. And these make their confession and give thanks in front of the Lord of spirits and sing praises with all their power. And their food consists of all their thanksgiving, and they give thanks, praise, and exalt in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. And this oath is strong over them, and through it they kept safe, and their courses are not disturbed. They had great joy, and they blessed, praised, and exalted, because the name of the Son of Man has been revealed to them. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the whole judgment was given to the Son of Man, and he will cause the sinners to pass away and be destroyed from the face of the earth. And those who led astray the world will be bound in chains and will be shut up in the assembly place of their destruction, and their works will pass away from the face of the earth. And from then on there will be nothing corruptible, for the Son of Man has appeared, and he sat on the throne of his glory, and everything evil will pass away and go from in front of him. And the word of that Son of Man will be strong in the front of the Lord of spirits. This is the third parable of Enoch. Maybe tomorrow I can come back and read the rest of Enoch to you. I will pick up from the storehouses. That would be page 87. And I'm really grateful for everyone that joined me. If you're sleeping, I'm happy I knocked you out like a light. Yes, Goot. They are the names of the fallen angels, at least the 5 Satans on this earth. This is the Ethiopic manuscript. Okay. Here. Okay. Here is what I'm reading. I don't know if you guys can download that. And if you want a reading of it, um, hang on one second. Let me get you another link. Okay, so that's not private. Or that's not public, rather. Okay. If you want to hear, this is what I like to listen to when I fall asleep. Sleep. That's the one I listen to. I put in another link in my channel, but I don't see it popping up. Don't know why that is. I'm gonna do it again. So this is the written version that I've been reading. Okay. So the link that I dropped in first is the audio of it. And the second link I dropped in is what I'm reading from. Yeah, I gotta tell you, Deaf Bread, that it wasn't until I just read that out loud now that I had to read it out loud to understand what David Carrico was talking about when he was talking about the 5 sins on this world. Because we're hearing about 200 fall to earth and make a pact. And I'm still learning about a lot of things. But now that I actually read that out loud and heard myself rather than just listening to it, then this video by David Carrico started to make much more sense to me. Hey, Impaler, what's going on? So, I am going to give all of you my love, but I'm only getting half my chat right now. I don't know why that is. Hey, Joe and Fo. I haven't seen you in a long time. All right, so I'm only getting half of my chat room's comments. Forgive me. I want to give my love to Lou Gurley and Lou Boy, Megan, Deaf Bread. If I keep saying your name right, you got to come on my panel. That's all I have to say about that deaf breed. Megan, how are you, sweetheart? There were so many people in my panel. Michelle, Spiritually Awakened 2019, Perez. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Winging it. What are you doing? I'm only getting half my chat room. This is terrible. Because I want to say hi to all of you. I had the Bill Show here. Blessings to him. I think James Warback was here. Blessings to him. Nikki P. Who else was in my chat room? I kid you not. I'm only getting a section of my chat room. I hate when that happens. Forgive me. Seller. Hi, sweetie. I love you to the moon and back. Joe Info. It's great to see you. Goot Viol. It's awesome to see you, Linda B. It's been a long time, Linda B. Boy, I'm really happy to see you. It's been a very long time. Thank you for dropping in. And I love you guys. Impaler, it's great to see you. So, yes, Linda B, it's been so long. I've been thinking about you too. I'm really sorry, everyone, that I'm only getting half of my chat room, so I'm missing most of your comments. So if I did not give you a shout out, please don't think I'm rude. I just, YouTube hates me, and YouTube shows it all the time. So Hannah Lore, my love to you and your fur babies. Nikki P. If I forgot anyone, or if my chat room did not show me all of your comments, please forgive me for not giving you my love. But I lift all of us up to heavenly Yud Hey Vav Hey, and I pray that He gives all of us sweet dreams, and I pray that He reveals Himself in our dreams tonight when we go to sleep. I pray that He blesses us. I pray that He sends down His good warring angels to stand guard around us. And I'm really grateful to all of you because I had a few bad days or maybe a few bad weeks lately because I had a big move and I had to get settled in, and that can take a lot of energy out of me. And I'm really sorry. It's been a long process. So, listen, you guys know who you are close to me, and when we talk in private messages and when we talk on video calls, you know that we're close. So you guys really know me, and I'm really grateful that you do that for me. And just don't listen to these other people that think they know me, because they're reaching. And a lot of times they're trolling. Tra-la-la-la-la, troll. So anyway, I'm really grateful to the people that I was able to talk to today, and I'm really grateful for all of you, and thank you for allowing me to read you Enoch. But I'm going to come back tomorrow, and I am going to read you the rest of Enoch. And I'm really grateful that you would allow me to do that right now. So again, to all the people that I was not able to give a shout out to, please don't think I'm rude, but my chat room I only have half my comments in my chat room. I kid you not. I think the Bill Show was here, and I think James was here. It's only showing me half of my comments, so please don't think I'm rude. YouTube just hates me. They shadow ban me, they block me, they give me a hard time. But so I'll see you guys tomorrow, I hope, and I hope that you all sleep well. And I will too. And if you're wondering what you're looking at with my camera, it's a DVD. So that's where the colors come from. It's a CD right now. I didn't want to show my face. So that's why you see the colors that you're seeing. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm praying with and for all of you, and I'm lifting all of you up to Heavenly Abba. And once I am done reading Enoch, I'm going to come back on my channel and I'm going to talk about MK Ultra stuff. And it's going to be just me. It's going to be just a monologue. And that is pretty much that. So if somebody has a problem, I might remind you all that you got your own channels to have a problem on. This one's mine. You got yours. And I'm just very tired and probably being a wise ass. So I'm going to go to sleep before I get myself in more trouble. And I pray to talk to you later to read you guys the rest of Enoch. And thank you for your time. And should you have fallen asleep, that's a good thing because I listen to Enoch and I fall asleep. But I fall asleep in a good way. Since I was a little girl. Well, you guys will read my autobiography, so you'll understand why I feel that I have a kinship with Enoch. I love him. So good night. Oh, Nikki P, you're precious. All of you guys are so special to me. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will bother you tomorrow on my channel. I love you. Issue of blessings. Selah.